Welcome to the next installment of my life as a Roman emperor. Do you know about Emperor Honorius? Let me tell you, the story is much more thrilling than you might expect. Greetings, friends. I am Flavius Honorius, a name you may have heard whispered in the dark corners of history books, often with a hint of disdain. I ruled the Western Roman Empire during one of its most tumultuous times, the 4th century AD. This was a period fraught with political upheaval and relentless military threats. But let us begin at the beginning, shall we? Born on September 9, 3084, I was the younger son of Theodosius I, the last emperor to rule both the eastern and western halves of the Roman Empire. My mother, Aelia Flacilla, was a paragon of virtue, a woman of great piety and strength. My childhood was filled with the typical trappings of Roman nobility: rigorous education, strict tutors, and an endless stream of lessons in statecraft and military strategy. Those early days. I remember running through the marble halls of our palace in Constantinople, my brother Arcadius and I, causing all sorts of mischief. Arcadius, destined to rule the East, was always the serious one, while I, the younger and more carefree, found joy in simpler pleasures. Our father, a stern and imposing figure, had little time for our antics. He was constantly engaged in the defense of the empire, battling barbarians at the frontiers and quelling internal revolts. One day, as we were sparring in the courtyard, our father called us to his study. His face was grave, and we knew something significant was afoot. "Honorius," he said, looking directly at me, "you must prepare yourself for the weight of the crown. Your time will come sooner than you think." Little did I know how prophetic his words would be. In 393, at the tender age of 9, I was elevated to the rank of Augustus by my father. Imagine that, a child of 9, burdened with the title of emperor. It was a heavy mantle to bear, one that I was not fully prepared for. My father's death in 395 thrust me into the role of sole ruler of the West, while Arcadius took control of the East. I was just 10 years old, a mere boy in a world of men, warriors, and schemers. Those early years were a blur of lessons and responsibilities. Under the guidance of my master of soldiers, the formidable Flavius Stilicho, I navigated the treacherous waters of Roman politics, but the challenges were just beginning. The empire was vast, its territory sprawling and difficult to manage. External threats loomed large, and the internal strife was a constant thorn in my side. But enough about my early days. Next, we'll delve into my ascension to the throne and the early years of my reign. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be thrust into power at a tender age? To have the weight of an empire on your shoulders before you even grasp the concept of true leadership? When my father passed away in 395, I was merely 10 years old. The world was a vast and intimidating place, filled with shadows and whispers. The responsibility of ruling the Western Roman Empire was placed upon me, and the transition was anything but smooth. My early days as emperor were overshadowed by the formidable presence of Flavius Stilicho, my master of soldiers and my guiding hand. Stilicho, a man of great ambition and military prowess, was essentially the power behind the throne. I was a puppet emperor in many ways, with Stilicho pulling the strings. He was married to my cousin Serena, further entwining our fates. Stilicho's influence was both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, he was a brilliant strategist, defending the empire against barbarian invasions and internal revolts. On the other, his ambition knew no bounds, and his actions often stirred suspicion and jealousy among the Roman elite. One of the most vivid memories of my early reign was the marriage arranged by Stilicho. In 398, I was wed to his daughter Maria. It was a political alliance meant to cement his power and secure my loyalty. Maria was kind and gentle, but our marriage was not one of love. We were mere pawns in Stilicho's grand game. Tragedy struck in 408 when Maria passed away. The loss was a heavy blow, not just personally but politically. Stilicho, ever the opportunist, quickly arranged for me to marry Maria's younger sister Thermantia. This union, however, was short-lived. The tide of suspicion against Stilicho was rising, and whispers of treason began to circulate. The suspected treason of my dear friend and brother-in-law Stilicho was almost too much to bear. Accusations flew and the pressure mounted. In a moment of political necessity, I sanctioned his execution. Watching Stilicho, the man who had been my protector and mentor, meet his end was a harrowing experience. It was a decision that haunted me, but it was also a turning point. Without Stilicho's shadow, I was now truly on my own. Stilicho's death marked the beginning of a new chapter in my reign. The empire was in turmoil, and I faced immense challenges. From the invasion of barbarian tribes to internal power struggles, the years ahead were fraught with peril. But let us not dwell on the somber notes. In the next part of my story, I will recount the trials and tribulations of my reign, the battles fought, and the decisions made. Join me as we navigate through the stormy seas of leadership. Imagine ruling an empire in decline, besieged by enemies within and without. How would you navigate such treacherous waters? My reign as emperor was marked by relentless challenges and ceaseless turmoil. The Western Roman Empire, once a beacon of might and civilization, was now a shadow of its former glory, beset by barbarian invasions and internal dissent. With Stilicho gone, the weight of the empire fell squarely on my shoulders. The Vandals, Alani, and Suebi were ravaging Gaul and crossing into Spain, while my own generals and officials were plotting against me. It was a time of great peril, and every decision I made seemed to lead to further complications. The year 410 was perhaps the darkest of my reign. Alaric, king of the Visigoths, marched upon Rome. I should never have left Rome when the Visigoths under Alaric attacked. I should have negotiated peace with him beforehand. Instead, I fled to Ravenna, leaving the eternal city to its fate. The news of Rome's fall was a blow that echoed through the ages. The unthinkable had happened. The city, the heart of the empire, was sacked. The despair and outrage among my people were palpable. As I sat in my fortified palace in Ravenna, I could only imagine the horror and devastation unfolding in the streets of Rome. The blame was laid squarely at my feet, and rightly so. In the years that followed, I watched as the empire continued to fragment. My loyal generals fought valiantly against usurpers and rebels. Priscus Attalus, Maximus, Jovinus. Each claimed the throne in turn. Each was crushed. Yet, despite these victories, the empire's strength waned. One of the most gut-wrenching moments was the betrayal of Constantius, my master of soldiers after Stilicho. He had been a stalwart defender of the empire, but in 421 he proclaimed himself co-emperor. His sudden death a few months later left a power vacuum and further destabilized the already fragile state. During these tumultuous times, I found solace in the arms of faith. Christianity, which my father had fervently supported, became my anchor. I ordered the construction of churches and the suppression of pagan practices, hoping that divine favor would guide the empire back to stability. Yet, even these efforts were met with mixed results, as religious strife added to the already chaotic landscape. By 423, the empire was but a shadow of its former self. I had faced countless betrayals, seen my beloved Rome sacked, and watched as the once mighty Western Roman Empire crumbled around me. But my story does not end here. Join me in the next part, where I will recount the final days of my life and the legacy I left behind. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to witness the collapse of an empire? To see the dreams and efforts of generations crumble before your eyes? As the years of my reign drew to a close, I found myself reflecting on the choices I had made, the battles fought, and the countless lives lost. The weight of the empire had taken its toll on me, both physically and mentally. By 423, my health was deteriorating. The constant stress and anxiety of ruling an empire in decline were too much for my body to bear. The pressures of leadership, the fear of betrayal, and the relentless onslaught of barbarian invasions had worn me down. In my final days, I spent much of my time in Ravenna, the new seat of the Western Roman Empire. Ravenna, with its marshy surroundings and strong fortifications, had become a refuge for me. Yet even within its walls, I could not escape the turmoil that plagued my mind. My thoughts often drifted back to my dear friend Stilicho. The suspected treason of my dear friend and brother-in-law was almost too much to bear. I often wondered if I had made the right decision in ordering his execution. Had I been too quick to listen to the whispers of treason? The loss of Stilicho had left a void in my heart and a chasm in my defenses. The memory of Rome's sack by the Visigoths haunted me. I should never have left Rome when the Visigoths under Alaric attacked. I should have negotiated peace with him beforehand. These thoughts tormented me, and I could not escape the feeling that I had failed my people. As my health declined, I appointed my young cousin, Valentinian III, as my successor. He was the son of Constantius, my late co-emperor, and Galla Placidia, my half-sister. I hoped that he would bring stability and strength to the crumbling empire. But deep down, I knew that the challenges he would face were immense. On August 15, 423, I breathed my last. I was only 38 years old, yet I felt as if I had lived 1,000 lifetimes. My death marked the end of an era, and the Western Roman Empire would never be the same again. But what of my legacy? Join me in the next part, where I will discuss how history remembers me and the impact of my reign. What does history say about a ruler who presided over one of the most tumultuous periods of the Roman Empire? How does the legacy of such an emperor endure through the ages? The Western Roman Empire was a fragile entity when I ascended the throne, and it grew only more unstable during my reign. Despite my best efforts and the sacrifices of many, the empire continued its inexorable decline. Yet history is seldom black and white, and my legacy is more complex than it may first appear. The historians of my time and those who came after have often portrayed me as a weak and ineffective ruler. They point to the sack of Rome, the constant invasions, and the internal strife as evidence of my failures. It is true that I made mistakes, grave ones at that. But it is also true that I was a product of my times, a pawn in a game of power and politics that was far larger than any single person. During my reign, I witnessed the fracturing of the Western Roman Empire. The Vandals, Suebi, and Alani tore through Gaul and into Spain. The Visigoths, under Alaric, sacked Rome itself. Each invasion, each rebellion chipped away at the empire's integrity. But these were not just failures of leadership. They were symptoms of a deeper, more systemic decay. Despite these challenges, I tried to hold the empire together. My support for Christianity helped solidify the faith's dominance in the West, a legacy that would shape European civilization for centuries. I oversaw the construction of churches and enacted laws to protect the new Christian order. My actions were guided by my faith, hoping that divine favor would bring stability to my troubled realm. I also attempted to fortify our defenses, moving the capital from Milan to Ravenna, a more defensible position. The strategic location, surrounded by marshes, made it less susceptible to attack. This decision, though criticized, provided a temporary refuge from the onslaught of barbarian invasions. Yet, the sack of Rome in 410 remains the most significant and symbolic event of my reign. The Eternal City, the heart of the empire, was plundered. It was a stark reminder of our vulnerability and a blow to the Roman psyche. It is an event that historians will forever associate with my name, an indelible mark on my legacy. History remembers me as one of the weakest emperors of Rome, a ruler unable to prevent the empire's decline. However, my reign also saw the cementing of Christianity's role in the Western world, a transformation that would have profound and lasting impacts on European history. My legacy is a tapestry of both failures and contributions, a reflection of an era marked by unprecedented challenges. In the next and final part of my story, we will explore the remnants of my reign and how you can walk in the footsteps of history. We will delve into the sites that tell the tale of my life and reign, from the churches I built to the fortresses that still stand. If you find these historical accounts fascinating, there is much more to discover on our channel. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments below, and let us journey together into the past to understand our present and future. Join me in the conclusion as we explore the enduring legacy of Honorius and how you can experience it firsthand through travel and ancient coin collecting. Have you ever wanted to step back in time and walk in the footsteps of an emperor? To see the remnants of an ancient world and hold history in your hands? As the curtain falls on my tale, I invite you to explore the legacy of my reign not just through words, but through the places and artifacts that have withstood the test of time. The Western Roman Empire may have crumbled, but its echoes can still be felt and seen today. Visiting the sites and collecting the relics of my era provide a tangible connection to the past. They allow us to understand the complexities of an empire in decline and the enduring impact of its rulers. Yet with so much history to uncover, where does one begin? Start your journey in Ravenna, the city that became the heart of the Western Roman Empire during my reign. Ravenna's unique blend of Roman and Byzantine architecture stands as a testament to its historical significance. Visit the Mausoleum of Galla Placidia, a stunning example of early Christian art, and the Basilica of San Vitale, with its intricate mosaics that capture the grandeur of a bygone era. No exploration of my legacy would be complete without a visit to Rome. Despite the devastation of 410, the city remains a treasure trove of history. The Colosseum, the Roman Forum, and the Pantheon are just a few of the iconic landmarks that tell the story of the empire. Imagine the streets filled with the sounds and sights of ancient Rome as you walk through these timeless ruins. For those who wish to hold a piece of history in their hands, ancient coin collecting offers a direct link to the past. Coins from my reign, like those minted with my image, provide a fascinating glimpse into the art, culture, and politics of the time. Each coin tells a story, from the emperors who ruled to the gods they worshipped. Ancient coins are often remarkably affordable, making them accessible to new collectors. Consider starting with coins featuring my likeness or those from significant events during my reign, such as the sack of Rome. Each piece you add to your collection deepens your connection to the ancient world. Imagine holding a coin minted during the sack of Rome, feeling the weight of history in your hand. It's not just a piece of metal, it's a tangible connection to the past, a reminder of the empire's glory and its struggles. Thank you for walking this journey through time with me. Our channel, known as the Renaissance Spirit, is dedicated to the pursuits of a just, equitable, and humanitarian world. Video topics encompass areas including history, politics, religion, personal development, society, culture, social and environmental justice, and other topics of liberal arts and sciences, including ancient Rome and the Roman Empire, which is a great comparison and contrast to the modern world. Topics perfect for the true modern polymath. The Renaissance ushered in a golden age and the pursuit of knowledge. Knowledge both lost to time and yet to be discovered. It gave birth to the Enlightenment and the Age of Reason, embracing truth, knowledge, and an understanding and compassion for humanity and our shared history opens up the world to each of us, individually, and improves all of humanity, affording us the opportunity to be better stewards of the earth and to each other. The Renaissance spirit is more than just a philosophy or style. It's a way of living, learning, growing, and thinking. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share. If you're looking to explore and experience what life has to offer, I'm sure you'll enjoy the other videos on my channel. But first, please take the quiz next to see if you're a Renaissance spirit, and check out the other episodes of My Life as a Roman Emperor. Live the Renaissance spirit.